Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that your life is a deep, silent river. Have you ever noticed how sometimes you feel carried by currents you didn't choose, as if something invisible pulls your thoughts toward the same fears, your emotions toward the same reactions, your soul toward the same painful silences? Perhaps you have asked yourself, on sleepless nights or in moments of soul weariness, why do I know what needs to change, feel what needs to heal, but something deep and silent always pulls me back to the same place? The answer to this question is not in the effort you have been making, nor in a lack of faith or spiritual knowledge. The answer lies in an invisible map you have never seen, a map that describes not streets or cities, but 4 territories of human consciousness, each one with its own logic, its own prison, and its own key. Most people spend their entire lives moving between the first 2 levels without ever knowing the other 2 exist, and without ever understanding that the pain they feel is not a punishment, but a silent sign that they are ready to cross. Dr. Bruce Lipton, scientist and epistemologist, brought a revolutionary understanding of how the human cell responds to its environment. He teaches us that a healthy cell only fully expresses itself in an environment of safety and nourishment, and it contracts and becomes ill in an environment of threat. You are no different from that cell. You only access higher levels of consciousness when your internal field ceases to be a battlefield. And here is the truth that few see. Most people confuse thinking about change with being in the frequency of change. Joe Dispenza alerts us to this great trap that keeps so many souls stuck in the first levels of consciousness for decades, never crossing over to the other side. You can repeat affirmations, do visualizations, light candles, perform rituals, but if your nervous system is still programmed for scarcity, for fear, for silent self-sabotage, no technique will work deeply. In this dive, you will recognize which of these 4 levels has been your silent home. Not to judge yourself, not to compare yourself, but to understand, with the compassion you deserve, why certain pains repeat, and why certain doors still haven't opened. And more importantly, you will understand that being where you are is not your fault. It is just a biological and emotional program that can be reprogrammed. And reprogramming begins now, with this simple act of consciousness. You are already ready to know where you are, so that you may finally know where to go. There is a silent pain that many people mistake for personality. It is that inner voice that says you are anxious, that you are explosive, that you are fearful, that you are needy, that you are distrustful. You have probably introduced yourself like that. Oh, I'm just like that. I've always been like that. What can I do? But what if you discovered that this, just like that, is not who you are, but a survival program installed in your childhood, when your nervous system was still forming and learned that the world is dangerous and the only possible safety is to shrink, fight, or flee? Neuroscience shows that about 95% of your behavior comes from subconscious programs, many of them recorded before the age of 7. You did not choose to feel anxious when contradicted. You did not decide to be afraid of abandonment. You did not consciously program the belief that you are not enough, that you need to deserve love, that money is difficult, or that happiness is not for you. These are old software programs running in loops in your internal operating system. And the first level of consciousness is precisely believing that this internal noise, this critical voice, this constant fear, is your truth. Most people call this destiny. They say, my life is like this, my relationship is like this, my financial situation is like this. But the truth is simpler and harsher at the same time. What you call destiny is just repetition. A woman who grew up hearing that money is difficult will hardly be able to vibrate abundance, no matter how many affirmations she repeats in front of the mirror. Because her body knows the tension of scarcity, the short breath of the fear of losing, the tightness in her chest when paying a bill, and the body sends signals to the energy field that contradict any beautiful words the conscious mind tries to affirm. A man who learned in childhood that showing emotion is weakness will never have an intimate and deep relationship, no matter how much he desires love. Because when vulnerability appears, his body shuts down before his mind can choose to open. He may even say, I love you, but the energy field around him will be vibrating fear of rejection, fear of being seen completely. The first level of consciousness is believing that life happens to you or against you, without ever realizing that most of your reality is just a faithful mirror of programs you never questioned, never welcomed, never reprogrammed. And what is the practical consequence of living in the first level? Emotional exhaustion. You try to change through willpower, read self-help books, go to therapy, meditate, repeat mantras, but you always return to the same place of frustration and fatigue. This is not a lack of effort. This is an error in approach. You are trying to solve with the conscious mind what is recorded in the body and the subconscious. It is like typing the same wrong password repeatedly and expecting the door to open. The door will not open until you learn the language of your nervous system, until you give your body the experience of safety it never had. Imagine a garden you received to grow flowers, but the soil is contaminated by decades of pesticides and buried trash. You can plant the most beautiful seeds in the world, water them with love every morning, speak positive words to each sprout that is born. But as long as the soil is not decontaminated, as long as the old toxins are not removed, the flowers will be born crooked, sick, or simply will not be born. The first level of consciousness is you thinking the problem is in the seeds, when the truth is that the soil of your deepest beliefs is still intoxicated by programs you don't even remember installing, and you cannot blame the flower for being born crooked in poisoned soil. You also cannot blame yourself for repeating patterns that were planted in you before you had a voice to choose. There is a trap that is perhaps the cruelest of the entire spiritual journey. You have already realized you are stuck. You have already understood that your thoughts are not you. You have already read about mental reprogramming, about vibrational frequencies, about universal laws, about the power of creative imagination. You have taken courses, watched lectures, participated in guided meditations. But something still hasn't truly changed, has it? Anxiety still tightens your chest at unexpected moments. Sadness still comes without warning. Anger still explodes before you can breathe. This is the second level of consciousness, awareness without coherence, knowing without being, theory without biological transformation. And what hurts here is no longer the old pain you carried in the first level. What hurts now is a new and subtler pain, the frustration of having already awakened to the problem and still being stuck in it. It is as if you woke up from a nightmare, knew it was a dream, but still felt your body paralyzed, still heard the echoes of fear, still couldn't move a finger. The mind already knows it is free, but the body is still vibrating the prison. Bruce Lipton explains that the subconscious does not understand words. It understands repeated experiences and familiar emotional states. And here is the great secret that few understand. Your subconscious prefers a known pain to an unknown joy, because the known pain, as much as it hurts, is familiar to your nervous system. Your body knows exactly what to do with sadness, with anxiety, with anger. It already has established neural routes for these emotions. But peace, trust, tranquil joy, serene abundance, these states are unknown territory for your biological system. And the brain, through an ancient protection mechanism, interprets the unknown as dangerous. If you desire prosperity but your body has known the tension of scarcity since childhood, your energy field will send contradictory signals to the universe. It is no use mentally visualizing wealth with your mouth if your cells are vibrating fear of losing. The second level is thinking you have already solved it because you understood the concept, but your nervous system still hasn't received the memo about change. And what happens then? You try to meditate to calm down, but your mind speeds up. You try to feel gratitude, but an old sadness appears. You try to trust divine timing, but anxiety tightens your chest. Joe Dispenza shows us that this is not spiritual failure. It is pure neuroscience. Your brain has become addicted to the old emotional circuits. When you try to feel something new, the brain does not recognize that frequency, does not have a neural route established for that emotion, and quickly pulls you back to the familiar sadness, the known anger, the anxiety that has already become a traveling companion. And the fatal mistake that most people make in the second level is trying to control the shakko. They still believe they can force transformation with mental discipline, with techniques repeated to exhaustion, with mechanical rituals. But real transformation does not happen through the effort of holding back the wave. It happens by learning to surf it. As long as you fight your anxiety, it will strengthen. As long as you try to eliminate your fears, they will grow. As long as you try to push sadness under the rug of toxic positivity, it will return stronger. The leap from the second to the third level requires you to stop trying to fix what you feel and start learning to feel in a new way, without judgment, without haste, without the urgency to see results. Think of an old radio that plays the same sad, repetitive song for years. You already know you don't like that song, you are tired of it, you have memorized every sad note. But instead of slowly turning the dial to find a new frequency, you keep hitting the radio, cursing the song, or trying to open the device to fix wires you don't even understand. The second level is all this agitation. The third level, which you have not yet reached, is simply starting to turn the dial patiently, accepting that at first there may be static, there may be other strange stations, there may be uncomfortable silence. But gradually, with consistency, and without despair, the new frequency stabilizes. What changes when you finally stop fighting yourself? The third level of consciousness is not about feeling good all the time. It is not about perpetual peace, constant joy, uninterrupted happiness. The third level is about something much deeper and much more liberating. It is about no longer being governed by what you feel. Here, in this territory, you develop the rare ability to observe your emotions without being swept away by them. Anger comes, but you do not explode. Sadness comes, but you do not sink. Fear comes, but you do not freeze. This does not happen because you suppress these emotions, not because you learn to pretend they don't exist. This happens because you created a space between the stimulus and the response. And in that space, in that sacred pause of 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, lies all your freedom. The person who reacts automatically has no choice. The person who observes before responding, that person is truly free. And freedom is not the absence of difficult emotions, it is the ability to feel any emotion without losing your center. Science beautifully explains what happens here. When you practice self-observation without judgment, your brain begins to strengthen the prefrontal cortex, which is the region responsible for emotional regulation and conscious decision-making. At the same time, the amygdala, which is your alarm center, your internal fire alarm, gradually calms down. Gregg Braden calls this the alignment between the heart and the brain, a state of coherence where you no longer react to the ghosts of the past, but respond with presence to what is happening now, in this exact moment. And here comes a great expectation break that may be uncomfortable at first, but is liberating afterward. Feeling is not weakness. Feeling is information. Many people jump from the second level, trying to go directly to a false spiritual peace, where they deny their difficult emotions and pretend everything is fine. They smile while their soul cries. They say everything is fine while their body screams. This is not spiritual evolution, this is dissociation. It is a more sophisticated escape, but it is still an escape. The third level does not run from pain, but it also does not drown in it. It has learned to read pain as a messenger. It asks itself, what is this old sadness trying to tell me? What need of mine has been dormant? What boundary did I not respect? What truth did I not want to see? Pain ceases to be an enemy and becomes an ally of your consciousness. It is no longer a problem to be solved, but a text to be interpreted. It is no longer a flaw to be eliminated, but a teacher to be heard. There is a silent exercise that can help you anchor this inner witness. Whenever a strong emotion arises, instead of acting impulsively or blaming yourself for feeling, place your hand on your chest, right in the center of your heart, and say internally with gentleness, I feel this here. It doesn't need to change. It doesn't need to be solved. It doesn't need to be understood now. Just acknowledge it. I feel this here. This simple act of acknowledgement interrupts the cycle of automatic reactivity. It breaks the loop. It returns to you the reins that were in the hands of the subconscious program. Over time, with silent and consistent practice, you will notice something extraordinary. You will notice that you are no longer the person who feels anger. You are the consciousness that observes the anger pass. You are no longer the person who feels fear. You are the space where fear appears and disappears. You are no longer the person who feels sadness. You are the immense, silent sky where the clouds of sadness come and go. This small linguistic shift, this subtle change of identity, is the gateway to the third level. You are the sky, not the clouds. The clouds are your thoughts, your emotions, your passing pains, your temporary fears. In the first level, you believed you were the storm. You confused yourself with the lightning, the thunder, the heavy rain. In the second level, you knew you were not the storm, but you spent all your time trying to push the clouds away with your hands, trying to control the weather, trying to make the sky blue through sheer willpower. In the third level, you finally rest as the sky. The clouds come and go, some dark and heavy, others light and fleeting, but you no longer need to do anything with them. You just witness. And in this silent witness, you find a peace that depends on nothing external, on no circumstance, on no achievement, on no love that comes from outside. The fourth level of consciousness is the rarest and most misunderstood territory of all. Here, something fundamental transforms in your relationship with life. You stop trying to attract and start emanating. You stop wanting to achieve and start being. You stop searching outside and start radiating from within. Most people vibrate to obtain, and this energy of neediness, of lack, of scarcity, attracts more neediness, more lack, more scarcity. It is an implacable energetic law. What you vibrate, you attract. But most people vibrate the lack of what they desire, and then wonder why it continues to be lacking. The conscious creator does not try to attract love. He becomes loving, generous, open, and love reorganizes itself around him, naturally, like dry leaves reorganize around a center of wind. He does not try to attract money. He becomes prosperous in spirit, generous in essence, abundant in consciousness, and material prosperity finds a channel to flow towards him, not because he asked, but because he became the frequency of what he desires. And when you become the frequency, you no longer need to ask. You just emanate, and the universe just organizes. Neville Goddard, one of the great masters of the law of assumption, taught something profound and often misunderstood. He said that imagination is not fantasy, not daydreaming, not escapism. Imagination is the creative field of reality. But most people use imagination to relive old pains, to rehearse difficult conversations, to anticipate disasters, to imagine the worst-case scenario. And then they wonder why life confirms exactly what they most rehearsed mentally. The fourth level of consciousness understands that imagining is rehearsing reality, and it deliberately chooses to rehearse what it wishes to see flourish. Not with the anxiety of someone who needs, but with the calm of someone who already knows that the rehearsal is the very creation in progress. There is, however, an energetic flaw that few see, and it is subtle. You can feel for a moment the joy of the imagined achievement. You can visualize the perfect scene, feel the anticipated gratitude, experience for a few seconds the frequency of the fulfilled desire. But if in the next second your body returns to the tension of doubt, to the tightness of anxiety, to the fear of it not working out, you have just sent a contradictory command to the unified field. The universe receives a yes and a no at the same time, and because the universe respects your predominant vibration, it responds to the no that came after, not the yes that came before. The conscious creator cultivates coherence, not for hours, not for days, but for consistent, repeated seconds like drops of water that carve stone. It is not about feeling good all the time. No one feels good all the time. It is about returning to the chosen frequency whenever you deviate, without drama, without guilt, without beating yourself up for having failed, just with the gentle discipline of reconnection. I deviated, that's fine. I return now. I felt fear, that's fine. I breathe and return to trust. I doubted, that's fine. I choose again to believe. And here is the subtlest trap of the fourth level, which is control disguised as surrender. Many people pretend to trust the universe, but inside they are timing, they are demanding, they are anxious for the result. They say, I trust, but the heart is tight. They say, I surrender, but their thoughts are trying to force. The fourth level knows that trust is not waiting passively. Trust is acting inspired without attachment to the outcome. It is planting the seed with love, watering with presence, caring with tenderness, and allowing divine time to do the rest, without pulling up the soil every week to see if the root has grown yet. This permission for time, this active patience, this trust that does not demand proof, is the truest proof that you truly trust. If you need to see to believe, you are still in the second level. If you believe before seeing and act from that belief, you are touching the fourth level. Think of a musician playing an instrument. The musician in the first level plays out of tune and blames the instrument. The musician in the second level learns music theory, studies scores, but still misses notes because he is tense, because he is trying to get it right. The musician in the third level plays correctly, but is still focused on not making mistakes, still a little rigid, still inside his head. The musician in the fourth level no longer thinks about the notes. He has become the music. His fingers move on their own, emotion flows effortlessly, and the listener feels something that is not just sounds, but a presence. Being a conscious creator is this. You stop trying to play the symphony of your life and simply become it. There is a truth about the evolution of consciousness that almost no one tells, because it is not a comfortable truth. Not a truth that sells courses or fills lecture halls. The truth is this. Moving from one level to another is not a celebration of light and peace. It is a mourning. You will need to grieve the death of the version of yourself that survived in pain, that found security in victimhood, that confused suffering with identity. And this grief hurts. It hurts deeply. It hurts like losing a part of you, even if that part hurt you. Many people reach the edge of the crossing, feel the discomfort of transformation, and retreat. They prefer the known pain of the old level to the fear of the unknown territory of the next level. The mind rationalizes. I'm not ready. Maybe it's not for me. Maybe another time. But the truth is simpler. You are ready. You have always been ready. What is lacking is not readiness. It is courage to feel the discomfort of the new without running back to the old. The crossing is not for those seeking comfort. The crossing is for those seeking freedom. And here is an invisible mistake that sabotages so many journeys. You cannot skip steps. You cannot force the third level while still carrying wounds from the first that have never been truly welcomed. You cannot access the fourth level while still running from the emotions that need to be felt in the second. Consciousness does not develop through acceleration. It develops through integration. Each level needs to be lived, felt, understood, welcomed. Trying to meditate to escape anger without first learning to feel anger without reacting is like trying to fly without legs. Spiritual haste, anxiety for results, the urgency to be enlightened, is one of the greatest saboteurs of true transformation. Bruce Lipton teaches us that to leave a lower level, you need to give your body a biological experience of safety and novelty. Words are not enough. Intention is not enough. The subconscious only learns through repeated experience. This could be a different breath, a new movement of the body, a gentle touch on your own skin, a silent pause between the trigger and the response. The subconscious is like a small child. It does not understand explanations, it understands experiences. So stop trying to convince yourself with words and start training your nervous system with small daily actions of self-care and presence. There is a silent protocol that can help with this crossing, a protocol of just 30 seconds. When you feel yourself falling into the old pattern, that the automatic reaction is coming, that the subconscious program is taking control, stop any movement you are making. Breathe deeply 3 times. And on the 3rd exhale, whisper to yourself, with the sweetness of someone speaking to a dear friend, I can choose again now. These 30 seconds break the automatic loop. They return to your consciousness the reins that were in the hands of the program. It is not magic. It is applied neuroplasticity. It is teaching your brain that there is a pause between the stimulus and the response, and in that pause, you are free. You are in a river and want to reach the opposite bank. In the first levels, you row against the current, exhaust yourself, and think the problem is your strength, that you are not trying hard enough. In the next level, you learn about the current and start rowing with it, but you still get tired because you don't know what to do with the oars, because you are still trying to control every movement. The 3rd level is realizing that the oars are only for small adjustments, and that the true crossing happens when you stop rowing and surrender to the flow, trusting that the river knows the way. The 4th level is realizing that you are not in the river, you are the river. Now, in this moment of silence after this journey, do not ask yourself only which of the 4 levels you are in. Ask yourself also, what pain keeps me where I am, and what courage calls me to the next level? Because the map is not for naming the prison, it is for finding the key. And the key is not outside of you, not in any book, any guru, any miraculous technique. The key is in your willingness to feel what you never wanted to feel, in order to finally be what you could always be. Dr. Bruce Lipton reminds us that the cell does not evolve by chance. It responds to signals from the environment. You will not change through willpower, through military discipline, through spiritual self-flagellation. You will change by creating an internal environment of safety, nourishment, and novelty for your biological system. When you change the environment of your consciousness, when you bring welcome where there was judgment, when you bring pause where there was reaction, when you bring presence where there was escape, the cell that is, you has no choice but to flourish in a new way. It is biology. It is spirituality. It is the same thing. And Joe Dispenza leaves us with a final thought to carry in our hearts. Most people want a new life, but they do not want to feel the unknown emotions that this new life would require. They want the result without the process. They want the flower without the seed rotting in the dark. They want the butterfly without the discomfort of dissolving inside the cocoon. But real transformation always asks you to feel uncomfortable in the new before the new becomes comfortable. Peace will come, but before it, strangeness may come. Joy will come, but before it, mourning may come. Freedom will come, but before it, the fear of being free may come. You can spend the next few years repeating the same levels, the same pains, the same frustrations. Or you can start today, in this exact silence after this video, to take a microscopic step towards the next level. You don't need to know the whole path, you just need the first step. And this first step is always the same, no matter which level you are in now. The first step is to stop fighting what you feel and start feeling with presence. It is to stop running from your own soul and start inhabiting your own body. It is to stop searching outside and start emanating from within. The map is in your hands now, but the territory will only be traversed when you decide that the comfort of the known cell is no longer safer than the fear of unknown freedom. The question is not whether you are capable of changing levels. The question is, are you tired enough of the old pain to feel the courage to feel a new pain, which is the birth pain of who you are ready to become? Because on the other side of this pain, this crossing, this mourning, there is not just a different level of consciousness. There is you, freer, lighter, more whole. There is you, not as you thought you should be, but as you always were before you learned to forget yourself. And this return home, this reconnection with your own essence, is the only journey that truly matters. And it begins now. It begins here. It begins with this breath you just took while reading these words. Welcome to the next level. You are closer to it than you imagine.